easy. But I think it all goes back to yesterday, and you can't get away from the Dodgers, and they've lost 3 or 4, of course, in the series, and that's over and done with. But Seth Lugo, and we talked about this yesterday, calling out the Dodgers. He said what they did was, quote unquote, Bush League. Now, Bob Melvin said every team does it. Every single team does it. So the fact that Seth Lugo allowed 8 runs in the 4th inning, is that on him, or is that on the Dodgers because he was tipping pitches and they shouldn't have done it? I mean, there's no way to look at this, Jim. This is silly stuff. It's on you. If you can't get the job done, and there's a reason why, you got to figure out why you can't get the job done. But this is not Bush League. This is Major League Baseball. It's been going on for a century.
This is how I view yesterday and I view this series, is you got your ass kicked again. And I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want to hear anything was Bush League on the Dodgers' part. I don't want to hear anything of that nature, because you did nothing about it on the field. You got once again tossed around by the Dodgers again. Nothing changed. And so when I see quotes like, "Oh, that's Bush League," and like, "Oh, this stealing signs," and you're upset. How about this? How about you go out and you beat the Dodgers and you win, instead of every time you lose, it feels like there's an excuse. Oh, they're cheating. Oh, they did this. Oh, they did. Like, no. Go out there and win. I'm tired of these like excuses for why the Padres lost to the Dodgers in the regular season. Postseason last year was amazing. It was phenomenal. But at the same time, like, it gets sick. You're sick and tired of it when it happens every single year in the regular season.
For me, it just came off as Buck Showalter vibes from last year, of him going, "Oh, well, we know what they're doing now." Okay, well, enlighten us. What were they doing? Well, I'm not going to mention it. I'm just going to throw out blanket accusations with no proof or evidence whatsoever, and then I'm not going to even attempt to back them up. The same thing they did to Musgrove last year in the playoffs, where they just threw out accusations with no evidence or anything. They're just like, "No, we're going to say it, so I'm just going to ride with it."
I mean, here's the truth of the matter. It's an 8-run inning in which 7 of 8 reach before Mookie Betts even gets to the plate. It's then a 3-ball count on Betts. You throw him a belt-high fastball that he hits out for a grand slam. It's like, what else would you expect of what transpired there? And by the way, if anyone had any indication, and if Seth Lugo was willing to talk about a postgame, then you're not going to call out your catcher at any point. And maybe they did. I don't know if the catcher, I don't know if Campusano visited at any point that inning. I don't know if Niebla came out at any point that inning. But when I hear Bob Melvin say postgame, every team does it. If the Padres were in the exact same spot with an opportunity to take advantage of the Dodgers and score 8 runs in an inning, how pissed would you be if they didn't take advantage of it? And they told Dave Roberts, by the way, this never happened in a million years, nor will it. But listen to how stupid this sounds. The Padres are at the plate. The first 2 guys get base hits. There's a tell on the Dodgers starting pitcher. Someone calls time. They look at Dave Roberts, and then they say that your pitcher's tipping. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Mm-hmm. Every team is looking for an advantage. The Dodgers took advantage of the Padres. That, to me, is fair and square.
100%. If the Padres were in the Dodgers situation and they didn't take advantage, then I'd have a bigger problem with that. 100%. So when I look at this series, I'm not going to think, "Oh, no, the Dodgers were stealing signs." Man, I'm so upset. No, I'm upset that they lost. I'm upset that Bob Melvin, didn't take out Seth Lugo, or at least have somebody go out there to talk to Lugo before they got to the situation they got to. That's what I'm upset about. And it's interesting that these quotes have come out from Seth Lugo when you get your ass handed to you. It just doesn't make sense to me.
You can't have it both ways.
I know you can't.
Because he said, he's like, I got to execute, but also what they're doing is Bush League. No. If you need to execute, you need to execute. Like, you had a 5-0 lead in the game. You had a 5-0 lead in the game that you lost. By the way, you had countless opportunities in the series, Jim. Did they not lead game 1 in the 8th inning that they lost and didn't use Josh Hader?
Yep. They didn't use Josh Hader one time in the series.
The entire 4-game series. And listen, we've advocated all along. Nobody's calling for me and you. We're not calling for Bob Melvin's job. That's not the point of what I'm about to say. But it is a fair criticism to look back in the series and say, Could you have used Josh Hader in the 8th inning? Maybe there's some circumstances that prevent it.
Mm-hmm.
Could you have gone to Steven Wilson earlier? And maybe there's reasons why or why not. But those questions, and I heard people asking in postgame, I want to say AJ Cassavell may have asked it. Kevin may have asked it.
Yeah.
They're all fair questions is the point. Now, I'm not going to say Bob Melvin is the reason why, or they're 55 and 58 because of him. But in this whole mess of a season, you got to look in every crack and crevice to find out who's the culprit, and everyone's accountable for what has happened here.
They are. Everybody is. And to be okay with where they're at now at 3 games under 500 on August 8th and 4 games back of a wild card, I'm not okay with it.
Right.
I'm not. Now, this is all very numbing to me. It's a numbing feeling that where this team is at right now, how they are, it's hard for me to just have these blow-ups when they lose, because they've done this so many times this year. Until they get above 500, until they win 4 games in a row, to me, it's like I'm just waiting for that moment. I'm waiting for that moment, and I don't know if it's going to come. I mean, we're 3 months now into this year, this portion of a season, right?
Mm-hmm.
3 months where they have been below 500.
That's since May 10th.
Unbelievable. Am I throwing this whole season away right now? No, because guess what? Every team in front of them sucks, and they still have a chance to potentially back their way into this thing if they don't play good, consistent baseball here. They could play the same type of baseball they're playing with maybe 1 week of good play and back in, because maybe because everyone in front of them is falling back. Maybe.
Your point's valid because listen, how about this, Jim? Go pull up the American League wildcard standings right now. They get the Mariners tonight, and Aaron Goldsmith, the radio voice, will join us at 5 p.m. The Mariners are 8 games over 500. They're 3 games out of a playoff spot. If the Padres are in the American League, we'd be talking about 2024. If the Padres are in the American League, they wouldn't have added 1 piece at the deadline. The season would be over.
Yep.
We'd be talking about everything under the sun other than the Padres' playoff chances in the second half. To their benefit, where they literally luck out, is they're in the National League. And they're 3 games under, and they're 4 games out. The Mariners are 8 games over and 3 games out. So you're right. I don't know if they will, quote unquote, back in, but to consider where they are and that they're still in it is really amazing. Because if they were in the American League, this thing's over.
It's done.
Completely over.
It's completely over. So with that being said, they're still in it. But here's the thing though. Just because they're still in it doesn't mean you can't be upset with what you're seeing. Because I feel like there's a little hey, everything is okay because they're still in it. So there's no point in being upset and complaining. No, that's not how this works. Yeah, it's a good thing they're still in it. Thank God the other teams in front of them suck. But doesn't change the fact that where they're at right now still pisses me off. And it should piss every other Padres fan off as well. 3 games under and 4 out of a wild card spot on August 8th. That's unacceptable.
What did we say yesterday? When it kind of all set in, we're maybe this team just ain't it. There's 49 games left.
Yeah.
You have some of the most high-profile players in the sport. I'm talking about Fernando Tatis Jr., Juan Soto, Manny Machado, and Xander Bogaerts, and others, by the way. And they're the only team of the 30 that hasn't won more than 3 games in a row. Someone please explain that to me. They've played Kansas City. They've played Washington. They've played Pittsburgh, who's 5-1 against them. Now, they haven't played Oakland. But someone please explain to me how the San Diego Padres, who will draw 3.2 million fans and have the greatest fan base in the sport right now,
I know.
and sell out every game and have everyone in their corner, they don't get booed at home. Everyone is there for them. And they can't win 4 games in a row out of 113 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
how head scratching is that?
You almost said a bad word.
No, I didn't. I was going to say mind numbing.
Oh. I thought you say
no.
Yeah.
Come on, Jim. You know me.
That's
Do I
right.
even curse off air? Sometimes. Not a lot.
Honestly, you've probably cursed 3 times.
On air, I've had to be.
You've cursed more than me on air.
Dumped
curse
4
on
times.
air a lot.
But that wasn't curses. I said things that I can't say on air.
You called me.
No, you cursed.
Yeah, you did.
I said things I can't say.
Yeah, curse words.
Curses. But here's the thing on the wrap-up
Swear
show.
words.
At night on the wrap-up show,
my God.
Jim is like a sailor.
Oh, I curse. I cuss a lot on
But
the
I
wrap-up
don't
show.
I don't curse at all on the wrap-up show, do I?
No. You've cussed maybe a couple times.
When I get mad.
Yeah, so a lot of viewers that are watching this right now that are loyal to the wrap-up show and making their way over to John and Jim on YouTube, unfortunately, you won't be seeing me cuss at all on John and Jim here. So sorry about that.
Listen, someone in the chat, and if you're watching on YouTube on day one, thank you. And by the way, you can text us 70470, start it with team. Someone in the chat said, but what about what Jake said? And I don't know if we took that quote out of context or not, because I didn't hear him say it. And I don't even know if we talked about it on radio. I know we did on YouTube. That Jake Cronenworth, I saw it as like a backhanded way to be complimentary of the fan base, where in the comeback win, Brent, the other day when they scored 7 runs in the 8th inning, he was quoted post-game, and I'm now paraphrasing, and maybe Jim can say it better than I can. He basically said, man, we felt your energy in that comeback, and we need it more often. Wasn't that basically the premise? Not...
Wasn't it a response to like the Dodger fans though at Petco making noise for Dodgers players?
I don't fully know, and I didn't hear it. I just saw the quote. He was not trying to be correct. He was praiseworthy of the Padres fans.
Absolutely.
Just the way like, hey, we could use more of it. I'm now thinking, well, they could use more of you performing to get more behind you. What are you supposed to do? Stand and be on your feet when you're down 13-5?
Right.
Or down 8-5, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah, like, oh, Luis Campusano hit a home run in the 9th inning. Everyone should get on their feet and, be over the moon about it. Like,
right.
Yeah, it's a good thing for Luis Campusano, but you're still down by 6 runs.